Hi, this is Dan Sullivan. I'd like to welcome you to the Multiplier Mindset Podcast. I'm very pleased to introduce Liz Evenden as our game changer transformation for today, because Liz has discovered something very, very early in her participation in Strategic Coach that a lot of entrepreneurs never quite get. And I thought this was so important to highlight Liz's experience from the first 15 months. So 15 months, she's been through 1 year of Strategic Coach, and she's just about the halfway through her second year as we did this interview with her. She said the biggest thing that she learned in the first year of Coach is that it's not a quick fix. And this is important because when she first signed up for Coach, she said, well, I'll just do a year and then I'll get everything right and then I'll be set. And of course, we plan to have Liz forever in the program. That's our goal, in Strategic Coach. What that requires is that we do a great job of giving her maximum value during her first year in Strategic Coach, and then to show her that we've really created a never-ending process so that no matter where she goes, bigger and better in her entrepreneurial career. And I should say, Liz, who is a consultant and coach to other businesses in the UK, and she comes from Aldershot, and I just want to have her experience, which came from a crisis, okay? And so often, the real value of Coach comes when something in your life outside of business actually reminds you how great the Strategic Coach process is, especially in terms of creating a self-managing team when there are personal issues. And in Liz's case, it was a sickness in her family with her father, where she had to take a full week off from work. And we consider these free days. The reason why we put such emphasis on entrepreneurs having 3 types of days, free days, focus days, and buffer days, is so that more and more you have the capability that when something in life, there is a thing called life outside of business, comes, that you're able to rest assured that you can take a week off and just focus totally on being the best possible person in your personal life with the people who mean the most to you, and then come back and realize that the business has managed itself while you were away. That's one thing that she learned, that basically she came back with an entirely new view of her business. But the other thing that she learned was that this time away is not just time away, that your thinking mind, your strategic mind as an entrepreneur actually takes a jump when you give yourself a break and you come back. And to a certain extent, even when you weren't there for the business, you kind of reinvented yourself. You have a totally different view of your business. And, like many coaches and consultants who start off as one-on-one entrepreneurs and they're just have a business in themselves, they realize that if they're really going to grow, they are probably good enough to grow personally, but they need a team to really do the growth while they're not there, so that more and more they can just focus on the future, not focus on what is presently creating the money in their company, not repeat what they've done in the past, but actually have a lot of room in their own mind, in their own vision, in their own imagination for creating a bigger jump. And you need to be away from your business to actually give yourself the freedom. And so this is just such a great story that she tells.
So I'm Liz Evenden. I have, in the last quarter, just started up a new business. We're right in startup phase. So we're in that really scary place where you don't have your client list signed yet. And it's been 7 years since we did this. So we've kind of forgotten how that feels, but it's really exciting. And we signed our first client and issued our first invoice yesterday. So it's a little win on the scheme of things, but you have to take those little steps to get to the big results. So, first of all, I don't know whether I would be doing this if it wasn't for Coach. I think I'd still be struggling in the previous business with a difficult partner. There are a whole bunch of tools, ways of thinking, processes, which me and my partner are implementing right from the start in this business. And that means that I can see how it will be scalable. Whereas with the previous business, I was trying to scale it. Here, I can kind of start clean and implement the stuff that I know was helping and actually try out some of the stuff that I hadn't had a chance to try out. So the tools and the workshops drive belief. They really help me to focus on what it is we're driving for, I'm driving for, and to reconnect with the fact that I can do that, being surrounded by a group of people. So today, my favorite thing I'm doing today is I'm asking everyone for their top startup tip. Like looking back on when you started up, what would you do differently? And I've got 18 successful entrepreneurs to ask that question to today. There's so much value in that alone. I joined the program thinking I would do it for a year and that would solve all my problems. And how wrong was I? What the first year did was really help me to see where the problems and issues were and see where the blockages were in myself and also in the way the business operated. First off, we did the exercise and assessed how many free days had we had in the year before we started the program. And I was really proud because I'd had 20 days where I genuinely, holidays. I actually took my holidays and was there and present. We'd had some really good days out and things like that. And I decided last year that actually I was really proud of that, but that was quite rubbish. So in my first year on the program, I went from 20 free days to 120 free days, which I think in itself has given me the fuel and the energy to start something new, to have that respite and have that time to myself and have that time to think, and not actively about the business, but just to kind of take in stimulus and see things differently. And I've been able to spend those days with friends, with family, with my husband, with my dogs, by myself. I mean, the whole concept of take a day for yourself and go and do something for yourself. I'm allowed a day and I can do whatever I want. So I went and got a tattoo. So that was my first self-indulgent free day for ages and ages, but I just haven't, gotten around to it. I just haven't given myself the space. So that's what I did. So that's kind of relationship with myself, I guess. And then my husband and I trained together for and entered a 100-mile bike ride challenge last year. We've never been able to coordinate to train together for anything before. We raised £1,000 for Prostate Cancer UK, which was brilliant. And just that quality of that time and doing that with him. And that all came from me setting 3-day goals around getting out training on the bike, and that has had massive relationship benefits for us. My dad, unfortunately, was sick last year. He had prostate cancer. That's why we fundraised for Prostate Cancer UK. And he's doing great now. But when he'd had his surgery and was having his radiotherapy, I was able to take 4 days and just go in the middle of a 25-day radiotherapy period. They live about 250 miles away, which is a long way here. And I was able to go and take 4 days and just be with him and mum, go to the appointments, give her a day off and not work at all, which I know, and they've told me, meant so much to them. And I was able to make the space for that. It's brilliant. First of all, if you're looking at the financial investment and wondering when that's going to pay back, stop. Wondering when you're going to see the £5,000 a year on your balance sheet, because there's value beyond revenues that you're going to get. And actually, the personal value that I've got from the program is absolutely worth it.
The other thing I'd like to share with you, I just did a workshop yesterday with entrepreneurs who were just in for their second workshop of their first year. And I was blown away by the little mindset shifts that they had made during the first 90 days. And they were kind of amazed when they reviewed their progress. They're making great progress in terms of turnover. In the UK, also, it's more profitable business. It's a more productive business. But the thing that they're really seeing is that they're thinking about their thinking. And my goal as a coach is always to create thinking exercises in Strategic Coach. In the very first year of the program, we have about 15 fundamental mindset shifts that just come from when you actually can step back from how you used to run the business, how other people think you should run the business, and you actually just get to think about how you're thinking about yourself as an entrepreneur. You're thinking about your whole life, not just your business life, but your personal life. And all of a sudden you come up with tremendous insights. And I know that my thinking exercises, and all the other coaches in Strategic Coach, they teach these thinking exercises. The exercises get you away from conventional ways of thinking about your business, and you just get to think about, I as an individual, how am I actually thinking about myself and my business? And that's where the mindset shifts comes from. It's not about how someone else expects you to be an entrepreneur. It's not how you've seen other entrepreneurs run your business. It's just in terms of you yourself, your capabilities, your time, opportunities you have available to you. How do you best utilize the time ahead. And then Strategic Coach is just 90 days ahead. We give everybody a 25-year framework, and we said, how about we just look at your future as 100 quarters, and all you have to do during the next 90 days is just think about your thinking and say, what's best for me during this 90 days? You have dozens and dozens of little mind shifts, and that's what creates the room for everybody to improve, to achieve bigger and better results. And just to give a real in-depth insight into the kind of thinking exercises we do in Strategic Coach, I'd like to direct everybody to go to a great thinking process, which we call Who Not How. So it's at whonothow.coach.